Well, I've polished the stripe barrel, so that's a bit brighter now. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to clean the wheels. I'm going to do them all by hand with wire wool, a bit of fairy liquid in here, wash it off with fresh water afterwards. I might have to have a bit of a wire brush as well. I want to get the whole lot so that they're clean, and I'll inspect them. I do it in 2 phases. First phase is to do this and get the dirt and rust off the arbors. This one, for instance, it's pretty grotty. There's rust on that. So they're not too bad, but there's a little trace of rust on this, as you can see down here and on there. If I tried to do it with a sonic cleaner, I wouldn't get that off. So it has to come to this in the end. So, and they're not too oily, which when they're really greasy and grimy, the sonic cleaner is pretty good. Comes into its own. There we are. So now give them a squirt with distilled water. Just to get the salts off. Oh. Dry them. And put them back in the bin. Okay. Yeah. it's important to dry them off afterwards, because particularly if you're using tap water, the salts will condense on the pieces, the wheels, and it spoils the work that you put into it. And in fact, sometimes it's sort of new lease of life. So there we are. There's that. Those wheels done. Now, chirpy and cheerful. And these are the strike wheels, and you can see they're pretty gloomy. They just need chirping up and polishing. But I've done the barrel, and the same with the pendulum. Oh, there we are. It's a bit brighter, I think. A little. Yep, I'll do them all, and so that when I put it all back in, it'll shine at me. Well, I mean, you know. There we are. You see, it's worth doing. You know, you get something like that, and then when it's all part of the entire movement, you can look at it and say, well, somebody will be happy with that. So I'll give it a brush in a moment just to make sure that there's no residual left in it. Well, just as you'd expect, a bit of brisk polishing. You can see the trundles there, this lot down there. They're all in fairly good nick, which is good. Sometimes they wear out or bent, Well, those are all okay. And I gave the clock a cursory examination before I took it to pieces completely, but I've got to put it together again and then examine it to see if there are any bushings required. I don't think there are. Right, so that's the strike done. They're all quite bright now when compared with what they were before. I mean, that's not perfect, but no, I don't particularly want to spend 2 hours buffing that up. It could take a lot more time. Then next I will burnish all the pivots here. You see them? That one is, maybe you can't see it properly, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But if I burnish it, I'll take any irregularities out of it, and that one too. Then that kind or another, and it just hardens up the pivots here. And I put them on here and roll them towards me if I can, and then push this the other way. So that then means that the pivot is receiving a hard edge to smooth out any irregularities. I can do it on a lathe. I've got one over here. I don't suppose you can see it, but never mind. Got one over there, but I'd rather do it by hand. It's a little slower. It gives me the opportunity to inspect the pinions and the trundles and whatever you've got. There, you get the American clocks and English clocks have got slightly larger pivots than the French clocks. So that one's done. Now, just polished up the end there and I'm not looking at it under a microscope, but if there were any irregularities in it, wear or something like that, then this will polish it out and prepare it for the final inspection to see if there's any bushes needed. Because if I'm going to do this and reduce their size to any extent, then that will become apparent when I inspect for the next stage, just a final check for the bushes. I think I'm doing it the right way, but I think an awful lot of it is common sense and enthusiasm. You can't hurry it. There's a great big stubby one there. On the main arbor. I suppose the criticism of this method is that you've got to be careful you don't bend them. Well, I haven't done that so far. But you're much more likely to bend your pivots when you're putting the plates together and you haven't got one in quite right. There we are. That one's done, that one's done. That's the escape wheel. A bit cleaner. I've inspected it. I'm happy. That's good. Okay, well, I've got the rest to do. You can see them all here. all cleaned up now. Finished where possible, but anyway, clean. And that's this side and plate there. Needs a little bit more touching up here and there, but it's got good dust on it. So I'll come back later when that's sorted and show you the next stage.